Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. What you are looking at is a 1999 Yamaha Bear Tracker. It is a two-wheel drive. We did that walk around. The plastic's in really nice shape, perhaps a little faded, but we could take care of that. But it's complete. It's not broken or smashed up, cracked up, messed up in any way. It really appears to, from a physical point of view, it appears to be in real nice shape. I'm not seeing anything dented up, right? This isn't all bent up. The handlebars are straight. They don't look like it took the roll. I mean, really appears to be in nice shape. While I was pulling it over here, I noticed one of the front wheels doing something a little strange. So I pulled the wheels off. And quite honestly, this is the second quad I've seen like this lately. Like, what's with this? Right? Do people put like air guns on them or something to get them to break? So I mean, as it goes around, this must have been what I'm seeing, right? Because it kind of would turn to the knot. I mean, the front brake's been kind of jimmied with a little bit. So that's that side. On this side, it only had two bolts holding it on. Right, you could see 1, 2 missing. I mean, it seems to turn okay, and if I put the brake on, right, it does seem to stop. And if I actuate the brake, I think you guys could see that it's moving. And that one, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Yeah. So the cables seem to be alive, and I just wanted to take a look at that to see what was really going on with those. I'm going to put the front tires back on. While the front wheels were off, I looked around and the wire harness appears to be intact. I don't notice any cuts, any dangling wires, any real trouble with that. So I put the jump pack on it, right, and turns out I got some headlights. I don't have high headlights, but I have low ones. That's a good sign. And looks like I'm also getting power to the tail light. I like that. And it looks like I got a neutral light lit up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this thing a hoot of starting fluid, and let's see if she'll start. Here we have the starting fluid. Give it a spray. Just a hoot or two, yeah. Power on. You gotta love it when they start. I don't know what condition the rest of it's in, right? I got a gas tank that's kind of the wrong one and it's too big, so I can't settle the plastic down. So I gotta kind of get it apart and take a look at the carb and all. Does have a Kevin carburetor on it. I think that's a Kevin. Looks exactly like the same carb that's on the 250X. So it's looking very positive. What do I have to do next? I kind of have to go through the carburetor and see if I can't get some regular gas to it. Then I got to see if it'll go into gear, so stay tuned. I gave the carb a quick rebuild, and I saw plenty of things that I didn't like, but I gave it the best rebuild I could for a 2-minute rebuild, and let's see how she does. So gas is on. I poured some gas into it. Power pack's on. Keys on. Green light. How one uses reverse. But it is running. Guess that's all positive. Still no highlights. Lights do look brighter, so it's probably charging. And it did move, so that's all positive stuff. Well, it's running the gas out. Let's go through just quickly what I think this thing needs to become a decent quad. First of all, it appears as if the boot on the carburetor doesn't look right. In addition, this is the wrong cable. And throttle assembly. When I mentioned I didn't like the looks of the carburetor, what I didn't like the looks of specifically, there's a hose on the bottom that does the overflow, and there's a screw jammed in it. Normally that means the carburetor is flooding. It doesn't have the ability to maintain its proper level. I don't even have these anymore. I kind of consider this more of a parts carburetor than a real carburetor. I'm not sure what this assembly is off of. Maybe a Kawasaki. I don't. Maybe it could be a Honda too, but could be. Yeah, it could be a Honda. I'm gonna shut it down because I smell something kind of burning a little bit, and I don't like the smell of that. With what recently happened to Tom Martin, I'm afraid of anything that smells like it's burning. So anyway, what does this thing need? I don't like the looks of the carburetor. I don't like the looks of the throttle assembly. The tires hold air, and they're well worn, but to me, if tires hold air, I do not tend to replace them. I grew up poor, and once again, if a tire holds air, that's all that I require of it. If I need something to go through snow or mud, I could pick something out of my hoard with better tires, or I could grab one of the 2 4-wheel drives and go through mud. So I'm not all that hung up about the appearance of a tire. I just want them to hold air. The front hubs, right, this one only has well, that one has 2 bolts. This one has 3, but one of them's messed up. So I gotta look up some hubs to put on this thing. The plastic needs to be cleaned up. The seat looks pretty good. About the lights, I mean, if I have high or low or a backlight, if I have any kind of lighting, I'm normally pretty happy. So I'll take what I have there. About reverse, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Maybe if I sit down on the bike and I can move the hand ergonomically properly, maybe the reverse would work. I'm just not exactly sure what's going on reverse at this moment, but it does seem to go forward, and that it does. So I think it's worth putting some money into. I did a quick look on Facebook and Craigslist, let it go, and so forth. These things for $19.99, they seem to go for between $700 and $1,200. If this thing was cleaned up nice, you know, call it, just for a number, call it $1,000. And as a matter of fact, let's call it, well, they had one that actually looked halfway decent and moved and ran and all that. I think the guy was after $700 or $750 for it. So that kind of tells you where your high watermark is. Generally speaking, though, I think this is a quad that I would like. Obviously, I haven't ridden it yet, so I can't say, oh yeah, I love it. But it seems to be relatively light. Has recoil and electric start. You know, has racks on it. It's that kind of halfway between sport and utility, and I like those. Plastics look decent and all. So I think it would be a keeper for me just to kind of have a Yamaha in my hoard. I would, as time passes, I might spend a little time and figure out the wiring and see if my CDI box would work on this. One of you guys made a comment about checking the rear end. I found the fill plug. I didn't find a drain plug on the rear end. No, there's a cover that kind of covers up the entire rear end. The right angle drive, so to speak, if it had a differential, what a differential would be. And you said check it. I mean, it seems to turn easily. By check it, you mean make sure there's no water in there? I didn't look at it. Well, actually, I did look at it kind of close, but obviously I didn't take that cover off. I'm not sure what it would take to get the oil out of it and refill it with new oil for the rear end. It's probably not a bad thing to do once in a while. I think most of the rear ends that fail, whether they're Hondas or Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, if they're shaft drive, I think most of them die of not changing the oil. And you take them swimming, you get some water in there, or just from sitting around the condensation of being hot and cold over and over again. And I think eventually that moisture forms rust, and that rust is abrasive to all the gears in there, and you end up with a failure, the gears and bearings. So I don't think it's a bad idea to change the old hypoid once in a while. If you're familiar with gear oil also, it really kind of sticks to the gears. It's kind of gooey, sticky chainsaw, kind of a little bit like chainsaw bar oil. It kind of sticks. Well, that keeps the gear surfaces really well lubricated as the tranny, as the rear end spins. So if you're dumping hypoid oil and it's coming out of there like water, it was more than right to be changed. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about this thing. I think I'm going to stitch all these videos together and you guys will see them soon. In the meantime, I am going to order a couple of parts. I am going to sniff around. Well, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. I think I'm going to check to see if I can't find a new intake manifold, because I don't like the looks of that. So I'm going to come up with a new intake manifold. By the way, here's the gas tank. It's not the right one for it, so I'm going to have to put something else underneath this cover. Okay, I think that's it. I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.